Jennifer Rostel.
Here.
Gabe Turner.
Here.
Lola Brown is not here.
Excused.
Brad Boach here. Denise Granavich.
Here.
Dave Franzel.
Here.
Dave Brophy.
Here.
And Lori White has an excused absence. There's, well, she doesn't, I don't think she.
Yeah, she told me she wasn't gonna be here, so she's excused too. Okay, our agenda. I got 2 items to add. Under communications, we'll call it letter D. It'll be a letter of resignation from Lola Brown. And then under new business 14C, fire department request for dinner money for Halloween. That's all items I had. Anybody else? No? Okay, any public comment on the agenda items you see there? We'll have another public comment at the end, but for other things, but, okay. Well, we'll start off with our guys that are doing their presentation on the LED lighting.
Okay. Where would you like me to stand?
You can come down here.
Up here? Okay. My name is Bob Fork. I'm from Energy Reduction Coalition. Pass a few of those down. And ERC is a Michigan-based nonprofit. We partner with municipalities to upgrade lighting to LED, both buildings and street lights and parking lots and parks, whatever you have. So we've been doing this since 2011, and our approach is a kind of a partnership model where we don't sell anything, but what we do is we figure out what lighting is costing you right now. And so, for example, if your lighting was costing you $100 a month for power and replacement bulbs and all that, we come up with a plan to reduce that by upgrading to LED. We pay for it, with the product and the installation, the project management and all that business. And at the end of the day, you have improved lighting, everything functional, all LED. And in our program, we agree that your operating cost has to be reduced. So if you're, for interior lighting, if you're spending $100 a month, then our minimum target we try to achieve is a 20% reduction in your cost of lighting, tripling to 60% over the lifespan of the lighting. So the way that works is if your benchmark is $100, then after the lighting's installed, your new budget would be $80. Of that 80, about half of it would be for power, and the other half would be the payment to ERC. And then over every year, your share of cost reduction goes up. So eventually you get to 60%, at which point most of the rest of your $40 budget is now power, and very little goes to us. To make it kind of bulletproof for the communities, we provide that if any of the lighting fails, we supply replacement. So you keep an inventory on hand, and then if your people replace a lamp, we credit you for the cost of your labor, whatever it is. So like Centerline said, that all in, their people cost them $44 an hour. So that's the basis on which we credit them. Then we also provide that if your circumstances change, that we'll recalculate everything. So for example, if we did a fire station and you closed it, well then you've taken it out of the program. Since you're not using the lights, there's no benefit, there's nothing to share, right? And if you reopen the fire station, then it would be back in the program. Also, early on, some of the communities wanted an option to simply buy out the lighting and grab all the savings. So we provide that The buyout cost is whatever we spent initially, but then that depreciates every month as you use the lighting, because it's worth less because you burned it. So that's always available. And then some of the communities were concerned about, well, what if, 2 years from now prices come way down, and we could have gotten it for cheaper if we just waited 2 years. Program provides that after 2 years, if you want, you could buy your own light bulbs and give us ours back and leave the program, just like that. So you're protected against product failure because we're responsible for the cost of maintenance, and you're protected against a big drop in prices because you can always just go buy it yourself and get the lights back. And if you run into a pile of money and you want to pay for it all and get us out of the partnership, you can do that. That's always available. So our, in any building like this with fluorescent lighting, if you're running it normal business hours, our minimum targets are 20%, tripling to 60%. Exterior lighting is different. It's more expensive because that generally involves complete fixture replacement. There our minimum targets are 10%, tripling to 30%. Generally, what we're trying to do here, the mission of the organization is to accelerate the adoption of energy-saving technology, so that's why the program is designed the way it is, so that there's no objection to just doing it, because you're better off the moment you're in it. And you're always better off even if your circumstances change. But we do have some communities like Centerline, this gave us a letter of recommendation in there on the left-hand side. They wanted something more. What they wanted was their football field lit. So the way we do this is, once you say you're serious and you give us permission to come in and do an assessment, and you sign the one-page agreement. We do an assessment, we figure out what your cost of lighting is, and then we propose a conversion. We will not move forward until you approve the conversion, all right? Once the conversion's approved and we actually get everything installed, then we prepare a final plan that will have the final numbers, because inevitably when you're doing, it's like any build, there's going to, there's what you planned and then there's as built, because inevitably there might be a change along the way. And then once you sign off on the final plan and approve that, that's when the saving sharing starts. So with Centerline, they wanted 2 plans prepared. They wanted just a plan to convert the lighting they had, and then a plan to use that savings, for us to use the savings to light their football field, if that was possible, because that gets pretty expensive. You can spend up to $250,000 to light a football field properly. And as it turns out, the savings did support that, so their choice was, you keep the savings, go light the football field because we want Friday night games. And so that's what we did. So we're open to that kind of thing. And of course, they could pull that off because we were converting 600 street lights in all their buildings, and we were generating so much in savings, we were able to squeak that one through. But normally, we're just looking to fulfill our mission, which is get people to adopt energy-saving technology and cut energy use. But we're open to whatever the needs of the community might be and see if we can do something about it. Any questions?
I got one. Now, if you enter into this agreement, is there a time period? Length of contract or anything?
No, so it's indefinite. In other words, it's indefinite because if you stop using the lights, you've just ended it.
Okay, right.
After 2 years, you can return the lights. At any time, you could buy it out. So it's simply indefinite. It kind of ends when you want it to end.
Okay.
In terms of getting things done, We're as quick about it as we can be. Usually if you sign that, then we'll have a project manager out within a week to start counting lights. Data input and analysis and plan prep takes about a week. And then it's time to meet with you to see, what do you think? Does this look good to you? Is there something you want to add, subtract, whatever? Then after that, it's a matter of product availability and electrician availability. And, you know, when hunting season starts, the electricians will disappear, so we try to plan around those things, and holidays and whatnot.
You were talking about electricians. Do you guys have somebody from the city you bring up, or can we try to keep it local?
Oh, you can keep it local. So we have a set of standards, you know, standard prices we pay for things and the way we like things done that we can walk anyone through. You know, it's important things like you cannot disrupt operations, you cannot leave dust or dirt, you got to do this so that no one's inconvenienced. It's got to be done correctly, you got to dispose of things correctly, but we like to use local electricians if at all possible, particularly if there's anyone who's worked in your buildings and knows you, that's perfect. Otherwise, we'll just get people from where we can get them to the job. I mean, right now we're doing the UP paper company in Manistee. Did a manufacturing concern in Kentucky. So we can basically get it done anywhere. Now, sometimes we get asked, you know, especially with the smaller villages, it's too small a job. The founder of the organization believes this should be available to anybody. So our smallest job to date is Quincy Fire Association that cost us $1,600, and I think they pay us $50 a month or something. And the biggest one, it would be Auburn Hills. That was about $1.5 million, and that was all their street lights and all their buildings. So, you know, again, if we're working in this area, I would try and get a few communities going, because again, we're a nonprofit, we don't have a lot of resources, so we have to use them wisely. But again, the founder says we got to do this for anybody who can use it.
I have a question.
Sure.
So right now, our streetlights, we rent the posts or whatever. So does that change things?
So street lights, couple things go on there. If it is a municipality-owned street light, we can do whatever we want to do. Okay, and that's great because you can get excellent fixtures on there, save a lot of money. If it's utility-owned, and is it consumers here?
DTE.
DTE.
Yeah, we were talking.
Okay. DTE, the way they operate, and we've worked with them a lot, we're a trade ally, is they will convert to LED and give you the better tariff, but you got to pay for it. So in that case, we pay for it. And we'll create the savings and share it. So even though we don't own the fixture and have no control, we will pay for it. Now with DTE, they're done for the year. Then what happens, because they won't, I just happen to know they're done. They're not going to do any more projects, streetlights. In January, they will start putting their new tariff together. Once they're sure of that and their contract prices, the procedure is you ask them for a contract, then we fly spec it because it's always inaccurate. There's always something wrong with it. Then there's a whole lot of back and forth, and when we finally have a contract from them that's accurate, then you sign the contract, but your contract with ERC says we're going to pay whatever that contract is. So, which will change, because again, they get out in the field and they've been billing you for 10 years for a street light that isn't even there anymore. When we find that, we'll run the numbers and go after them to get you a refund. So for Auburn Hills, that turned into $50,000. They were paying for street lights in Rochester. They were paying for street lights that didn't exist. They were paying for street lights that were double counted. So hopefully there'd be a whole lot less of that here, I would think. But
There's
that's,
some that don't work, we're picking for.
There's a lot.
some that don't work, you know. So, I mean, I don't know which contractor they use up here. It could be Harlan. I don't know if you've ever seen Harlan Electric around, but they work with a limited number of contractors. They choose the contractor, they choose the product. So with the higher wattage fixtures, you know, it's a pretty good deal. There's a lot of savings. With the lower wattage fixtures, not as much. If it were me picking the product, I would get more savings out of it. But if you have any mercury vapor, that is well worth replacing. If there's still, you know, a lot of high pressure sodium lights, the Cobra heads, those are well worth replacing almost all the time.
Are all, I'd say there's quite a few, because the other ones on the side streets are all the old spin bulbs.
There's quite a few of
There's
them.
quite a few of them.
All right. Well, the nice thing about the LED light is it's whiter, it's higher contrast, you get true colors, and it tends to make, funny way to put it, makes the city look clean. If you've ever driven down through a city that's only done half the job, there's like the dingy yellow looking part of town, and then there's the clean looking part under the LED light. And it's not that it's extremely bright, but it's different. It's whiter, cleaner, higher contrast, true colors, looks great.
A lot of our posts are actually in need of repair or replacement.
If it's a DT pole, it's their responsibility.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Hey, if it comes down, they got to, yeah.
And we've talked about kind of here and there about actually putting our own in and taking it away from DTA.
Well, I was
Yeah.
talking about that, and it ain't gonna happen.
No?
Well, they won't sell you their infrastructure. You know, they're making too much off of it. They love it. Because you know what their big issue is, there's so much less power used at night that they're actually grounding excess power all night long, because you can't turn off the generators. You have to keep them running, right? So boy, if they can sell you electricity for streetlights, they're all into that, because otherwise they're just driving it into the ground. So they'll never give that up. But at least with DTE, I'll say this, they've priced conversion in a way that it still makes sense doing. Whereas consumers, the price of their conversion is so high, they not only want you to pay for the installation and pay for the new fixture, they've asked us to pay for the remaining value on the old fixture. So in other words, I gotta buy the old fixture and the new one and pay to install it. And which, you know, we ran the numbers and we just couldn't make it work for the community, and so.
Now when you're buying the old ones that are used up, kinda
Yeah,
takes the savings out of the budget.
but you know, I would, if it would have worked, you know, principles aside, if we could get enough savings out of it, we would have done it, but it just didn't work.
The only way, from what we discussed, the only way to totally get rid of DT is somehow talking to some electric to come put in their infrastructure, then we can tell DT to go jump off the bridge.
Well, you know, we're willing to help with those.
But we can shut down as much as that.
Well, we can't modify DT's infrastructure, but if we somehow
You
make
can do your own, but it costs.
It costs a lot.
yeah, but
Because they're not gonna sell.
Well-
Not very good.
Yeah.
like I said, last week talked to Logic and we were a big one. You can learn this one.
Alright, yeah, that's good information.
Then we have, if we do get an assessment from you, we're not locked into that in any
No.
way. You're just basically giving us your opinion.
If you
of
sign
what
the
your
agreement,
assessment is.
what you're really telling me is you're not wasting my time. That
Mhm.
if I can show you some real savings, that, you know, you'll say, yeah, let's do that. Whereas, you know,
Well, savings and nice new lights that work is always good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's, well, yeah, getting everything functional. And, you know, you're fortunately, like in this room, these fixtures are in excellent condition. They're clean, the lenses aren't broken, although we need to get some bugs out, right? But the fixtures are in good shape. They can be retrofit to LED tubes. That's very effective. It'll look great. And the color of the light here is very white. We would match that, keep it the same. I'm guessing this is about 4,000 color temperature.
So for instance, one of these lights, all you gotta do is like pull the ballast out and put the new light in.
Ballast
Have a great
comes
day.
out, new tombstones go in, and the LED tubes are so efficient that in a 3-lamp troffer, we would go down to 2 tubes. And since you have a prismatic lens, that wouldn't really be very obvious, because the lens kind of, well, they're kind of a light eater. It's really not a great thing. It's what you got. So we look at all those things and figure that out. Now, we also have in the warehouse fancy schmancy flat panel troffer lights that just look like a glowing screen. I mean, if you have any place that needs to look fancy, you know, we're open to using those, although they don't save quite as much energy.
My garage could use.
Brandon's office, whatever, you
Thank
know.
you.
Wanna see what they look like?
Yeah.
Probably to the library before you said that.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I'm sorry, I got first dibs.
Fair
Sorry,
enough.
Jeff.
So, yeah, so the concept is, if you're committed to getting something done, by signing the agreement, they're saying you're gonna not just blow this off, even if we come up with savings. That's what it comes down to.
No.
But again, I need 3 signatures, you know, the starting one, and then you've got to approve a plan that you approve of. Then we do the work, and then you have to approve of the final result. So you're kind of approving each step of the way.
So in a nutshell, there's no out-of-pocket expense. All we're doing is giving you a percentage of our savings that we do every month. That's it.
Yep.
And we can bring
That's
new
it.
lights that work.
Would you, now,
And
there's
get
lights at
maintained,
the field
actually, for a
out there,
change.
like baseball
I
fields.
mean,
Well, the school property would be the football fields. We
But
don't-
there's,
we
in the
don't have-
baseball
Parks.
fields, there's no lights at the
In the
baseball.
parks.
We got the
there's some
parks, but nothing over the fields.
Oh, okay.
Um,
that would be the school.
We could turn these, I wonder if we should slip the business card to the school, because I know with that grant money, they wanted to upgrade.
I was gonna say, aren't they doing a
So I mean,
ton of reservations?
they got the
That could
grant,
save them.
well, they got the grant money, so why let them blow the money on it, give them the savings.
So I say,
They can put that money into something else.
Well, that's what Centerline Public Schools did, is they got a millage pass, but they said if we can get the school lighting on us, then
Well, yeah, it makes sense.
we got a lot more money to spend elsewhere, so that's what they did. Now in that case, we actually converted a school that they're gonna tear down in 2 years. We're okay with doing this as long as the building will be around for 2 years.
So that's cool, we go in
They're
there.
adding.
They're adding on,
Yeah.
and we just passed it on the
Okay.
millage to do some renovations, and part of that money was gonna go to lighting, but
if it doesn't have to do with
if
lighting.
it doesn't have to go to lighting, why should
It's
it?
not if there was anything else. we
Well,
can spend.
it's, what's unique about lighting is if you do it right and you spend the money, you can really significantly reduce operational costs. I mean, if you, and we're willing to look at this for anything where that's true. So we've been, you know, approached about a few things, but lighting is just such an opportunity. You know, if you do it this way, then you're not taking the product risk, or technological obsolescence, or prices change, you're keeping your options. It works well.
One of the biggest things with these is we power the balances 24/7 whether lights are on or not, so,
Yep.
you know, we're wasting money with that.
Yep.
Now, these Cobra headlight fixtures, I've seen pictures of them, and can we aim them so we're not wasting light through people's front windows?
Well, DTE has a specific set of fixtures they use, which have a certain spread of light, which is supposed to substitute for whatever is out there right now. So it should work right.
Or
Yeah.
anybody else? Comments, questions, concerns?
pretty well covered it. Good lights, we're not spending money. We keep a part of our the savings, we're still saving money. And you get your lights,
So like for
they're
instance,
maintained.
if you get a signature tonight, you can go ahead and start doing the,
Yeah, we
the study.
have, I'd have, who should a project manager call to set up a time to tour? Yeah, I kind of thought that was the case. I didn't want to volunteer. But, yeah, we would just have somebody call Brandon and set up a time to walk through the buildings, parks, whatever it is you're responsible for, library, and do the assessment. Need a copy of the power bills, at least 1 month's all power bills, so we can especially study streetlight stuff and all that. And if, Brandon, if you're giving the tour, so to speak, we'd be asking you about hours of use. When is the building in operation? And that's about it. Then we just got a whole lot of gotta get cracking on. Because what we do is give every single fixture a line in the program with its height above the floor, the type of fixture, number of lamps, the ballast, on and on. So the wattage of everything, the hours of use, all that data goes in so that we know exactly what that thing is costing you.
Now, the library,
Yeah.
it's under, the library's, it's under the village, it's its own separate entity, but it's still under the village, you know, and that it's, you know, all funds have to be gone through the village, you know, and things like that. So would that be considered,
Well, who's paying the electric bill?
well, the library pays it, but the checks come from the village?
Probably
But
just need
it's
to get
just a
them on
separate
board
fund.
with it,
Yeah,
I would think.
yeah.
Um,
Just we definitely need-
And, you know, with the libraries, I mean, we run into some interesting things. Over time, libraries tend to move things around. If you're looking and the lights are not lined up with the shelving, I mean, sometimes we wind up wanting to move things. And so we'll talk with the head librarian about, you know, your shelves are here, but the lights are over there. Should we move these guys over and make it work better? We're open to getting all that right. And, you know, it brings up the point, in bigger municipalities, but perhaps here as well, if you need the savings broken out by departments or buildings, we do that. So you could break out the library, you could break out the DPW shed, whatever. Because for budgetary reasons, people want to assign it all. And since we're so granular, that's nothing. That's one of the items, is where is it located?
Right, because that would be something that we would probably have
Right.
to do anyway,
Yeah.
just for budget.
That we're doing, anyhow.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth looking at because, I mean, he does assessment, you're saving money at it, and you get lights at work, and you get rid of the yellow-orange things, and,
Press it down a little bit.
you know. Can't go buy a new pole, so you pretty much cross that bridge.
We get lights that actually get maintained.
Yep.
And you don't have to do the negotiation with DTE either.
Yeah.
Can take all the labor pains and make the baby.
That's the idea.
I like it. Cool. So who has to sign it?
Try to keep it up during the day, we'll put it on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. I appreciate you taking the time. Good to visit with you. Take care.
Thanks.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
All right. Good to meet you.
You've got my cell phone number on the card. If you have any questions, just call me directly.
Did you have one more of those?
Yep, I got a couple.
I'll give it to the superintendent at the school.
There we go. We're all set.
All right, thank you.
Great, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you. Okay.
see.
Well, since we're
Yeah.
on this, let's
Good. So, he said they plan on doing the streetlights in the near future. So, he sounds pretty happy with it.
Alright.
And he said he would get Brandy lights and then spend it time.
Well, I'll entertain a motion then to sign the agreement to have Energy Reduction Coalition to come in and give us a cost analysis to see if we can upgrade our lighting and save some money by doing it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Who seconded it?
Gabe. Motion by Jeff, seconded by Gabe to sign this, have me sign the Energy Reduction Coalition lighting conversion agreement to give us a cost analysis on our lighting and upgrading it to LED. All in favor? Or any discussion, sorry. I think so. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can you just repeat that whole thing all over again? Wait, no, let me just say. Okay, a motion was made by Jeff, seconded by Gabe, to have Jason sign the agreement by ERC lighting conversion agreement. Oh, see, this is where you get it all.
She didn't have that.
All right.
You gotta get a recorder out here
I
for
guess
you.
so.
Yeah, you're right there.
Can you send it to me?
Okay, that
All right.
takes care of that. Okay, our DNR grant, I'll give a quick update on that. So Spicer emailed us, we scored 210 points on the first, it's a kind of a preliminary, is what she kind of explained.
Yeah.
Last year, 180 points were awarded grants, so we're at 210. I think she modified a couple things about the bathrooms.
Yeah, the bathrooms had to go to unisex, but they're gonna be one stall, because I'm like, wait a minute, how does that work if we have two stalls in it? She's like, well, they're actually gonna be one stall, so they can be unisex. And so since we are doing unisex, we'll get more points for that. And then also, we're gonna do 3 handicapped accessible picnic tables, which basically means the DPW will take off the boards on the top, replace them with 8-footers instead of the 6-foot that are on them. And then they'll be accessible on both ends for people in wheelchairs. You know, it's easy, it's cheap, because otherwise they're up 800 and up, you know, for new ones, you know. And I said, well, I'm thinking we can replace the boards but that, you know, those don't have to be done until just before it's finalized, you know. So. But that, I think, added another 15 points or something to it.
Yeah,
you know.
it was gonna add, you know.
So we're up there pretty high.
So, yep, so that's about all we got on that. Dave, you got?
Did she give you the piece of paper?
Yeah, I got it, yep.
Okay. Carl Ostakoski, I contacted him about Main Street development. And you know, I have a building there and I want to replace the front. Carl told me years ago that there's grants available to help replace the facades and buildings. And I know Tom Selleck has one, I talked to him also. And then I just talked to Chris David, and he says he wants to do a motel, so there's another project. So this, apparently, redevelopment ready communities. If you're going to create jobs, you can get grant money to redo your front of the building. But you have to have this first, redevelopment ready communities. And if you look it over, the second page says, you also get involved in Michigan Main Street project. So I would like to ask, before I do anything else, if the council would be approving of this. Now, the program is free, it just takes time to do it. Now, Carol said that somebody in Port Austin, the local person helped, so I guess I would offer my assistance in getting it done, because I hope to prosper from it, because I would go for after a grant. But I would like to have you look at it and approve it first, before I do any background work. But I think it's a great opportunity. We have Main Street that I've been fighting for forever. And if we can get some businesses redone, have a cohesive plan. We have one that's going up for auction in a few days. That's going to be a an eyesore, you know, it has to be fixed up, someone's gonna do it. We have residential, as you know, and people trying to keep that going, so. You know, it sounds like you just make a plan for it, get everybody involved, all the stakeholders, approve it, and then go for your grants programs. But that's how I understand it. You'd have to contact Carl Ossentowski for more information.
Yeah, from what I was reading, yeah, there's no cost to it really. And then if, said the village becomes this, that makes the people on Main Street or wherever is easier for them to, or can apply for these grants, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you can't apply, it's just like a master plan. You
Yeah.
can't apply for a grant.
If you don't have it,
So if you don't have a plan, they're not gonna give you the money.
yeah.
And I see on the third page, it says, we offer in-person 2-day trainings across the state. Day 1 includes practices, 1, 2, and 3, and day 2 covers 4, 5, and 6. So you can do trainings. But for me, I'd like to have it in place come spring, because I like to have my project started next summer. So that'd be my timing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, if you wanna take the bull by the horns and put the work into it, I don't have a problem with it.
It has to be approved by the council. This is the council's plan, it won't be my plan.
Oh yeah, we'll sign you right up for it. No problem doing that.
As long as I'm doing the research on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kinda read a little bit about it when Barb told me you wanted to talk about it, and, I mean, it's not a bad thing, so, I mean, the
No.
more,
This has to be just for people that are going to renovate their business and open it back up, like, could Peruski's try to like redo their storage buildings?
Carl said the front of the building and the back of the building. He's the expert, I don't know what the grants go for.
yeah, it was just mostly like with Tom, like in his, you know, it would pay to help clean that up, let's say, like say Tom or him could go and apply. Yeah, well, yeah,
Clean up Peruski's buildings,
yeah,
they get free money to do it.
yeah, they'd probably have to go through several paper, I mean, it's
There's
not,
no free money.
No.
You're gonna put your
No,
own money into it, it's a
yeah,
matching grant,
yeah.
fast. I don't think
well,
any-
I'll entertain a motion to allow Dave Euro for the village of Ubly to, fill out the proposed paperwork and for the certified redevelopment community with the,
And was put in there the Main Street, I don't know, Carl didn't talk to me about that one. The Michigan Main Street program,
yeah,
and it says you should be,
you know,
communities can leverage the benefits generated through RRC certification by participating in Main Street programs to support overall community prosperity.
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Okay.
yeah, being nice.
I wasn't
I know.
repeating what Jason
I wasn't
said.
gonna repeat all of that either. Motion to approve the redevelopment ready communities.
And the Main Street,
Well, you don't have the
Main
paper,
Street.
yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Where was it?
That's redevelopment ready.
Oh, there we go. Redevelopment ready communities grant.
Yeah, you just become certified, then that allows them people to, yeah, that Ubly's got a kind of a plan in place for like Main Street, so,
Which is good.
you know.
Really
No,
good.
yeah, it'd be nice to, there's some other empty buildings that could be taken care of too, so that might help them in the future, along with the people that are already there, so.
Okay, so we had a first and a second, but did we get the overall?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
or I see you're
We were
still,
working
you're
on the
still
wording.
discussing. I'm sorry.
Okay, motion by Gabe, second by Brandon, to have Dave Euro do the necessary,
Village of Ubly
The
represents.
village
Village
of,
be the Village of Ubly representative to fill out the proper paperwork for the redevelopment ready communities. So, obviously, people could apply for grants for Main Street.
Trying to have that paper yet, until we get this thing. Just people be asking Carl for grant money, do you have the plan? No, we don't.
Yeah.
That's you come up with a plan and we'll approve her.
And then I'll be the last one to get a grant.
Yeah.
But, all right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Good luck.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay. We got a letter of resignation from Lola. It was with regret that I write this letter of resignation from the Ubly Village Council. I've enjoyed my 2 years on the council, but due to ongoing health problems, I can't be at all the meetings and I feel I must step down. Sincerely, Lola and Brown. I'll entertain a motion to accept Lola's resignation.
I will make a motion to regretfully accept Lola Brown's resignation.
Second.
Motion by Brandon, seconded by Jeff, to accept Lola Brown's resignation with regret. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Barb, it's your turn.
Minutes, hopefully everybody got them, read them. I don't know if there's any changes or corrections. They were nice and short last month.
Okay, you got the minutes in front of you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the September 6, 2018 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second that motion.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Brandon, to accept, to approve the minutes of the September 6th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
On the bills, I don't think there was anything out of the ordinary, you know, talking about streetlights, as you can see, we pay usually it's between $2,600 and $3,000 a month on streetlights a month.
We can get that down, that'll be good.
And then, of course, there's all the other ones, the
Well, that's all.
DPW, the park, you know. I mean, so police right now, they have a surplus because they overcharged us, so we're still eating away on that one. So you may not get a bill for another year, you know, I mean, not yours. But,
Share that.
We could.
so I mean, you know, just to give you enough, you know, an idea of what we're spending at this point right now. But otherwise,
Yeah, it's like, it's 30-some thousand a year.
So when I was looking at the bills, when I started calling DT, the one was like 3,300 a month, so I mean, even if we can save $5,000 a year, $5,000, give them 25, we take 25,
Still better than where we were.
pretty much.
Well, I entertain a motion to pay the September 2018 bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the September 2018 bills.
I'll second it.
Motion by Gabe.
It's all recorded.
There might be just a tad bit of a change on the bills.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Dave just brought it to my attention. The professional services under Farish and Schwindler, it's not 1,400, it's maybe 140. I added an extra zero in there.
Oh,
So,
I thought that was from previous stuff.
no.
I was actually gonna say
So-
the same thing.
That's right.
Which one
I was trying to
surprised
think,
you?
I don't remember that big of a bill.
That's what I was thinking.
So
Can we get an
it's,
itemized bill to make sure there's not a charge for 30 phone calls?
yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, so that's probably 140.
I'll make a
All the
motion to
bills are right
approve the
there.
September 2018 bills with a correction from 1,400 to 140 on the police professional services.
I'll second that.
Okay, got it.
Okay, motion by Gabe, second by Joe to approve the September 2018 bills. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Bills for 200.
Guys, Anything else?
Nope, that's
Nope.
it, nothing for me.
Denise's turn.
Okay, treasurer's report for the month ending for September. Ending balances for general fund is $391,691.56. Makes a difference when taxes all come in. Water fund ending balance, $323,650.64. Major street fund, $278,152.36. Local street account ending balance, $178,511.75. Village street balance, $324,669.32. Library ending balance, $76,775.27. Downtown development, $12,017.05.
Okay. Accept the subject bond. Okay.
And just one thing I would like to add, since Steve Irvine isn't here, just to let everybody know that this Sunday, the 7th, is the beginning of the TVO Hall Sunday morning breakfast. So everybody tell your friends, family, and everybody come support the Ubly TVO Hall this Sunday morning. And that's it.
Okay. Public safety. No, you just do that subject to audit.
The one thing I want to, there's actually two things I need to address. The first one is crossing guard and the salary. As you guys know, 2 years ago, we used to have a crossing guard at the main light and one at the school. And they each worked an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, a total of 4 hours a day for 180 days of the school year. We eliminated the crossing guard at the main light because they were not being utilized. So we have one crossing guard 2 hours a day at the school, right in front of the school for crossing on 19, which is a high traffic area for us, and we need a crossing guard there. A year ago, we couldn't get anybody to do it, but we had two parapros. One was available in the morning and one was available in the afternoon. So it was still just 2 hours a day for 180 days a year, as opposed to 4 hours a day for 180 years. So this year, one of the parapros had to resign. She had a surgery and needs another surgery on her back, and she was unable to complete it. It was a bear to try to get a crossing guard for 1 hour a day. One of the parents stepped up. She said, I bring my kids to school and I don't need to be worked till 8:30. So Betty writes her name. She stepped up and said that she would do it this year and see how it goes from there. So the one thing, crossing guards are valued and they're the responsibility of the police department for local agencies. But anyways, when we budgeted last year, we budgeted for a raise for them, and I completely forgot to ask for that raise for them. And so I'm asking you guys to approve a $1 an hour raise for the crossing guards, which would be $360 a school year, is what it amounts to. An hour, 2 hours a day, 180 days a school year. So I would ask for that to be approved.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to give the crossing guards.
It is budgeted. It was budgeted. I just haven't. I just forgot to ask for it in August.
Yep.
I will make a motion to give the crossing guards the raise.
I'll second that.
Motion by Brandon, seconded by Gabe to give the crossing guards a $1 an hour raise.
One thing, Jason, could we have that retroactive for the last month?
Oh, backdate it.
From what do you want it from?
Beginning of the school year?
Beginning of the school year.
September 1st, well,
Whatever the beginning of the.
September,
Yeah.
August 27th.
August 27th.
I think.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion to approve the raise for the crossing guards and backdate it to August 27th. Starting then.
Second that.
Okay, motion by Brandon, seconded by Gabe to make the pay raise, an hourly $1 an hour pay raise effective August 27th, 2018 for the crossing guards. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And secondly, Jason, unfortunately with the retirement of Lola, I'm without a police committee chair. And I know lately with Lola not being available a lot of times, I've been talking to Jason, I've been calling Jason, running things by him, and Jeff. I just haven't worked with Jeff 2 days a week, so I've been running things by him too, bouncing police things off them. So now with her resignation, I'm gonna need somebody, at this point or somewhere in the future, somebody appointed to the,
Well, I think we can do it right now.
I'm pretty sure there's somebody here at this table that would love to do it.
Just more time with Dave.
Who wants to make the
See, we never
motion?
even said a name, we just let Donovan do it.
I'll make a motion for Jeff Rubin to be the police committee chair.
I will second that motion.
And they're not gonna give you any discussion. It's
Zero.
simple, you notice that?
Just think about the quality time you guys can have now.
That's quality, all right.
Oh, motion by Gabe, second by Brandon, to put Jeff on the police committee, as police committee chair. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
It gets worse.
That's it, Jason, thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, I got a good one for us now. Alright.
Oh, that's not
Here,
good.
you wanna
No.
I got extras, you wanna share?
I already do.
So you know what I'm talking about?
Is this the one with the house you stay
No, the house has been bought, and it was surveyed and everything else, and they.
Okay.
And that's all in village.
Yep.
So to kind of orient everybody where we are here, this is M19. If you hold your map to the north, there's a north in the bottom right-hand corner. You'll see the M I got on there is the museum that is in the village over there. Now, the dotted line area was formerly Joe Heck lived there. They went into foreclosure. It's been sat empty for a while. Somebody else has bought that. Well, it turns out that shed that's lettered A is on village property. That little square I have that you'll see the A is in, there's a dotted line on the right side of it, there's a square there. That is all village property. This guy bought this, he called the township because that parcel there is, that house is technically in the township, it is not in the village limits. The village actually, the limits go around that property. So way back in March of '95, somebody gave him a permit to build that building, and it is currently sitting on village property, and it's by a lot. I mean, we're talking 62 feet by 100 feet is to fix this problem. So you got two problems here. One problem is, well, that's village property, that whole parcel is, and that's township property. So how do we go about fixing this? I've talked to the county and they don't know, and Angie's like, I don't know what you're gonna do with this. Come to find out, nobody's paid personal property tax on, or taxes on that building that in 25 years,
Oh my
it's
God.
not recorded anywhere.
Sit right up there in the open.
So anyways, so that's kind of the problem we got right there. Now, I haven't gone seen, you have to help me with their last name.
Presanda.
Okay, Dakota Presanda bought this. I haven't gone seen them. Angie gave me the phone number, but I didn't want to call them until I brought it up with you guys. I've had some people, obviously it's been like this for 25 years, so the village previous, we can't really go over there and say, well, it's ours now, because I've been told we would lose that in court, which I don't want to do that. I want to handle it the right way. But what the right way is, I can't tell you. I mean, do we make him annex in, we give it to him, and we make him annex his whole property into the village?
Well, that was my theory, you know, you gotta almost give it to him, have him start paying taxes on it, and call it a day.
Now what started all this is he bought it, I think at Fannie Mae or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
But Angie says that when he bought it, they had an idea of selling that off. Well, okay, if we give it to him as a village, then he could do that, but that don't meet our zoning. We'd have to have a special meeting and approve to do that.
Rezone.
Because you couldn't build a house on it.
Right.
Because it's too small.
Well, why don't we do this then? If he wants to sell it off, why don't we make ourselves, I mean, do we need it?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, would it be anything for the wells? I mean, could we use it? I mean, if he's thinking about selling it off, why don't we put ourselves in the position to be the person to buy it at a set price and forgive the 25
Here's my
years taxes?
question though, where's the deed and the title on this? And
Well,
was
that's
it,
my-
it had to be a survey done.
There's no survey out there. And how this,
How did he get this?
I don't know. And I've talked to the county about this. But this is how it happened. You see, the village is plotted. So that means when you do something in the village, you measure from the right of way of the street. That's where your property line is.
Right.
It's behind the curb, say 15 feet roughly. Well, he is not in the township, or he's not in the village, he's in the township, so he needs to measure from the center of the road. And I think what somebody did, is what me and Angie figured out, is that road right of way is 120 feet. He took off he measured 60 from the center line and said, oh, that's where my property line starts, and then he measured 217 feet. That puts that, you'll see a fence back there if you get a chance in the next week or so or whatever to drive around it. You'll see a chain link fence, and that almost comes out perfect. Angie measured it and I measured it.
I guess the thing is though, whoever did all the paperwork on this, especially if it was a Fannie Mae, you would have thought they would have had to have a paid
Well, wouldn't he
surveyor
have
to go,
you would think he'd have recourse with them though, if
yes.
Title
Or
insurance.
title
Somebody,
insurance is gonna
yes.
cover it.
yeah.
Right, because this has gotta be deeded and titled the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, cause he'll never sell it anyway, even if he wants to, if the village owns it.
You know.
He
And
can't
that's
sell
what
what's not
got
his.
this, that's how it was found out, is he called Angie. And
They said, oh, you don't own that.
yeah, he wanted to split it. She says, well, I can't split it because the township is an acre. They can't, well, then she got looking, well, she called up there, they called down the building and zoning, then he called me. He says, you know about this? I said, no.
Well, it's like our property in town. Our neighbor found out that his shed was built on the neighbor's property. The lady passed away, they were selling the house. His shed was on the neighbor's property. We had to pay the surveyor like two times the amount
Oh, yeah.
to draw lines, to redo property lines,
Oh, to fix it.
to get, because come to find out, his property line was like next to our bedroom window. So we had to redo all that, but it cost. I mean, you had to have all that redone and
Yeah, and
everything.
that leads me to, you know, why should the village have to pay for?
Right.
Because I got the building permit right here, but in '95, the county did building permits for Bingham. Bingham was a self-zoned operation. In December of '95, Bingham give it up and let the county do it, but this was done in March. So somebody from the township give him a permit. Now, I don't know who that person is. I haven't seen that paper. He said he might about to go through the microfiche and find it in the courthouse, but it takes some time, some digging to do that. And I said, well, I guess I'm not looking to go with a hatchet and say, you screwed up 25 years ago. Maybe that person's not around, I don't know.
Well, that's
but-
irrelevant at this point.
Yeah,
I guess the point is
yeah.
you gotta make it right. I mean,
Fix it.
There's gotta be-
and he can't sell property that isn't his. I mean,
No.
you gotta go back to the beginning and you gotta have it surveyed and then you gotta get the title straight first. That's all gotta get straightened out and get
Yeah.
clear lines put in, and then you can deal with it from there. I
Yeah.
don't think you can just say,
No,
sure, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean,
No.
and you can't unbury what you've dug up, so now you have to
Yeah.
deal with it.
So
Is there any
no.
kind of grandfathering laws on this or anything?
Well, like I've been told by several that, you know, if I took care of your property for 15 years and you never said a word to me that I could take,
Right, yeah.
legally I can take it from you.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, there's grandfathering laws over a certain amount of time that are gonna kick in.
And that's
so-
why I'm not looking to do that. I
No, but
just,
you gotta get it straightened out.
Yeah.
Because the guy can't even sell it because it will never,
yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
he's not paying any county taxes either. You know, I mean,
Well, we would have township and village taxes that need to be, so he probably hasn't paid township or,
well, and that's okay, so that was what happened then, well, that's fine, but now you're gonna go take this property that isn't yours, that you haven't paid taxes on, you're gonna sell it and take the proceeds,
right?
and there's no clear lines and and that's not fair to the township. I mean, even if you've been using it. And
Yeah.
why didn't anybody notice after how many, that's what I'd like to know. How did
don't
no
know.
one know? I just-
See, they just bought this, I mean, it's,
I don't
Oh,
walk
those
around the
poor
village
people
with
got
a
it,
great
and
service.
then they need to go back on, I whether they bought it. or not.
well, and that's,
They
yeah,
They
that's
gotta
what I
have
would.
service.
Well, this is where the title insurance would kick in, because the title insurance is gonna cover all this,
Yeah,
so.
what a mess that
I would-
is.
Slap it on
Well,
there. Let's see.
all right, yeah.
Make a motion to send it to the lawyers.
I second that.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
All right, well, I'll do that. Do we need a motion on that? I don't think so, right?
Whatever.
I just, yeah, all right, well, that's what we'll do, we'll entertain that for next month, and I'll try to talk to them, and maybe I can invite them to come too next month, but, other than that, zoning, I had the Masonic Hall, we had a complaint about that, he did meet with, Mark's Landscaping on Monday, and it's on Mark's list to get taken care of, Dave, so.
Yeah, I saw Mark out there with him.
Yeah,
And
no, he was super nice, I mean, you send somebody a letter and
But
he
he
called.
called the hall, I mean, he called here, and it gives you the time, he called like 3 times.
I give him my
within 10
email, but
minutes.
I don't wanna like hand it out my cell phone to people in Detroit, but.
He kept repeating the message over and over,
But-
and like, yeah, I think he was afraid I hadn't got it.
No, he was real, he did, we talked for quite a while, and so, yeah, he met with Mark, and Mark told me, yeah, it's on his list, so. Okay, that's all I got in zoning, I'm burned out, so. You got anything?
I have nothing right now.
Intergovernmental,
Everything's cool on it, the intergovernmental issue, but however, I got one thing. There's a couple by the name of George and Judith Goodman, and it's through MML, and it's a scholarship fund that they present $1,000 to a student each year. So I'm gonna get with the school and see if they want to pursue.
oh,
It's
yeah,
pretty cool, it's $1,000, but you have to be, a student, of course,
yeah,
and potentially enrolled in college. And all they gotta do is write an essay, and maybe it might get, some of the kids looking at trying to get into government or public stuff. So, we're working on that.
What was the name of that again?
The George and Judith Goodman Scholarship Fund.
Okay,
It's all about the kids, you know that.
yeah, yeah.
I could use $1,000. Oh, and and you have to use it, you actually have to use it for tuition toward a degree, which is cool, so, that you have to go to college,
yeah,
right? So there you go.
Please sign up.
okay.
Alright.
Your turn.
DPW. The guys are still busy. They poured a couple of approaches in town, one in front of Fast Freddy's and in front of the post office, cleaned that up because it was cracking up.
Looks good.
Stop sign on Margie Street went in.
I'm kinda crooked.
I didn't do it.
Okay. I didn't even see it, I'm just kidding.
And there's a new handicap sign and pole at the library. Painted the handicap and / regular parking markings by the post office, village hall and library. Finished putting asphalt around the storm drains that were fixed on the local major streets. 4 water meters that came in went back on, so we're finally charging 4, still waiting on 35. Cut down 3 big trees that were dead on village property, one on James, 2 on Pike. The cable that got taken down at the end of Union Street went back up with some field tile and some reflective tape on it. I don't know, it was said one time it was done for right of way or easement or whatever. They've nobody back there needs any easement. There's an alley that runs between his house and
Mhm.
the ones on Main Street to give access to Goose's trailer, so we were blocking or denying easement.
Well, I think, doesn't the sign say road ends on there
Yeah.
anyway?
The reason that was taken down was for trash pickup, because they were supposed to, the way their trash was set up, they had to put it out on that street to get it picked up. So the fence was taken down so they could haul their trash out and the garbage truck could get to it, that was the purpose.
They can sign
Now,
under
they
it.
could still
They
do
can
it,
get
I
underneath
mean,
cable.
because it's just
Yeah,
the cable.
I'm saying that's why the snow fence, because there was snow fence up there for years,
Yeah.
that's why it was taken down.
So they're still trying to get some bids for the tractor mower, see what we wanna buy for the budget next year. And they took down the summertime Ubly welcome banners, took the flower pots back to DPW, and Melissa Kramer along with FFA students, they're supposed to take out the flowers so they can, take care of them for the winter. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. Budget finance, I don't really have anything at this time on that. Oh, unfinished business, we don't really have anything from last time. We will next month on the zoning stuff. Okay, 14A, do you have a copy of that contract with you? I forgot that.
Yeah, you too? Yeah, pretty sure.
Well,
it's on the-
anyways,
it's on the house.
So,
Hey, you got a copy of that?
we were well prepared, I know the amount anyways, it was
Yeah.
22 and some change, yeah, okay. So Dave had Dixon Engineering, come up with a proposal to do the bidding, inspection, all the contract paperwork for the water tower. So Dixon come back with an amount of 22,000 and some dollars, that would be the process of bidding it, coming out, inspecting the painting, the people that are painting it, and then making sure that they're the warranty stuff that they'll provide in the future, they'll come and check that. That number's pretty solid, they have hourly fees in there if something drastic goes wrong, but, that's basically to paint it and then add a mixing system. We've asked him to separate that out when they go to bid it. They'll separate that mixing system out just in case it's way more than what they thought, or we feel that we don't wanna spend the money on it. Yeah, so we'll have the painting and we'll have an alternate to install that, so. I think we're looking at like a December,
Yeah,
we could bid on it,
yeah.
and then in January, we could approve it if we feel that the number is right, and then that'll give us a budget number to put in for next year on it, but yeah, we're trying to get it bid, we don't wanna wait too long, cause then people their schedules fill up and the prices go up, so December, January are good times to, you know,
Cool.
so.
Trying to get it done while they're slow and trying to sharpen that pencil to get work.
Fill up their schedule.
And the only debate's probably gonna be is what they're painting on the outside of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we wanna do about
Ugly black
that.
letters looks just fine.
That's probably the cheapest, so.
So we can't change it.
So we need to draw more attention to it.
Maybe give us some glitter up on there, Jeff.
Well, no, you can't change it to like Rubendale or nothing.
For about 50 grand, we
Right.
could. We'll put whatever you want.
Alright. We could check.
Don't care.
Alright, well, that's kind of what the water tower painting engineering contract is about. We're gonna give them permission to go ahead and get this started, because it needs to be done, so. So I entertain a motion to approve the contract with Dixon Engineering.
Make a motion to approve the engineering contract with Dixon Engineering.
And I second it.
Motion by Gabe, seconded by Jennifer, to approve the contract with Dixon Engineering.
That's really good, you do it nice and slow. I have it done, but thanks.
Oh, you got it done?
I think
I'm gonna speed it up.
I was ahead of the schedule here, I'm just trying to keep up with you guys. You guys are
All
good. Okay, I got it.
Any more discussion? Oh, All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next big item. This is why I forgot the water tower contract. I gotta remember how it
Yeah,
was.
alright, priorities.
So we gotta approve for trick or treating. 5:30 to 7 on 31st, is it? Right?
Yeah,
Don't wanna screw this up.
yeah, your boys will let you know if you do. Yeah, it's
I'll
always
entertain a
5:30
motion
to
to
7.
set trick or treating hours on October 31st at 5:30 to 7.
We'll make a motion for everything Jason just said.
I'll second that.
Oh, motion by Brandon, second by Gabe to approve trick or treating hours on October 31st, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the last item. Joe Stacer, the fire chief, called me. You'll notice on that night, the fire department all go out, they stand on the high traffic corners and kind of watch traffic and stuff. So every year, the village is giving them $100 for pizza or whatever, dinner for the firefighters. So he was asking me to bring that up. So I entertain a motion to approve a $100 donation or check to,
We have to word it differently though.
or it's not a donation.
Gift card.
No, because we can't say that we can, give them a meal. We can put it as that,
We can buy them
Provide a
dinner.
meal.
but we can't give them,
I will.
you know,
Okay.
or we can't
Oh,
put it in the
okay,
middle.
I gotcha.
Yes.
So
That's
we'll entertain a motion to approve paying for the Bingham Township's Fire Department's meal.
I will make a motion to pay for the fire department's meal.
I'll second.
For
Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah, just for Halloween.
Yeah.
Joe take advantage
Joe,
of it.
Joe can eat, yes, he will.
All right,
With a cat.
so we got a motion by Brandon, seconded by Joe, to approve paying for the Bingham Township Fire Department's meal on October 31st during trick-or-treating hours. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's all I got, new business. Public comment, anybody got any public comment? We left. We're not entertaining enough.
We
Okay.
ran too late tonight.
Well, I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.